first things we do when we get all of our daily chores done at the station is we start talking about food. So today we're going to go through a few things that we have for dinner at the station. And also they're really simple things that you can do at home. What we're going to do today is we're going to actually cook some sirloin steaks. They're not the expensive steaks, but they have a lot of flavor. Good size is about a 10-ounce sirloin. We've let these rest, we've set them out there at room temperature, and so we're just going to season them. What I'm using today is Captain Rick's seasoning salt, and so we're going to just put a generous helping on. All right, I put it in a bowl because I like to be able to control what I'm putting on my steaks instead of shaking or any of the other methods of doing that. Turn them over. We want to make sure that we season both sides. The steak, we eat both sides, so we might as well season it both sides. We're going to go ahead and put this back over here and let that rest for just a few minutes. We're also going to make some broccoli today. Now, broccoli is an easy vegetable. You can buy it a bunch of different ways. You can buy it on the stem like this is. This is probably the cheapest way to buy it. It comes from your local grocery store, or you can buy it in a bag. The difference is a few cents in price. For me, I like to prep all my food, so I buy it like this because I like to chop. So it's real simple, just go through and making them into smaller sections. Steak and broccoli really go well together. There's a lot of fiber in the broccoli. It kind of holds that strong flavor of the meat. And we like to eat a lot of butter. And this kind of helps us to regulate that fat intake. Okay, we have our water boiling over here in our steamer. One thing that's real important to remember is to salt our water. Right, I use kosher salt, and I use a pretty good generous amount, maybe a couple tablespoons. Right, as that boils off, it's going to flavor our vegetable as well, especially broccoli. Okay, so we're going to throw this in here. This is going to take 5-7 minutes to cook. All right, now let's get ready to do our steaks. I prefer to do steaks on the stove. Just have a 10-inch saute pan. We're going to heat it up. We're going to get a good high temperature in there, so we want to make sure that we use an oil that will hold that temperature. I like to use avocado oil. All right, it's healthy for you, and it also will take that high temperature, 400 to 500 degrees. So after our pan is warmed up, we're going to put a generous amount in there, and then we're going to let it heat. All right, you want that good sizzle when that steak hits the pan. That's very important. As we caramelize the outside of that steak, as it gets that good color on it, then it starts to add flavor to our steak. We'll check on our broccoli over here. It looks like it's doing very well. When you're cooking broccoli, I like to use a glass lid. That way I can kind of check and look and see how it's reacting. When broccoli cooks, it goes from kind of a dull vegetable over here to a bright, beautiful thing that you want to eat. I'm going to go ahead and add these steaks. Yeah, that's the sizzle that we want right there. In Captain Rick's Spice Blend, we use a couple of different sizes of salt. We use a small sea salt and we use a kosher salt. And the reason I do that is because when you put the seasoning on your meat, the small salt kind of blends into the meat right away. The heavier kosher salt will sit on the surface and give you a good finish. We want to get a good sear on one side and just let that be. If we turn them multiple times and our pan starts to cool off and we don't get that good sear that we're really looking for. So we'll go ahead and flip these. You'll notice that as we flip them, we get that oil underneath them, and you can see how nice those steaks are turning out. That's going to add a lot of flavor. When we talk about herbs, we want to make sure that we get the freshest herbs that we can. We have some tarragon. Tarragon really goes great with beef. And also just a little bit of garlic. There's a ton of different kinds of garlic out there. I would really suggest we go back to the original type garlic. Just a quick smash on that. And we're using a garlic that came out of British Columbia. It's a heirloom garlic, and it has just a ton more flavor than typically the white garlic that you would buy in the grocery store. All right, we're just going to give it a quick coarse chop, keeping your fingers out of the way. That's good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to finish these steaks off. They're looking really good. Perfect. Okay, we're going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and we're going to add maybe a couple tablespoons of butter. And what that butter is going to do is it's just going to saturate into that steak. So we're going to throw our rosemary in there. A couple cloves of garlic. And then we're just going to take a spoon. Always make sure you use a towel so you don't burn yourself. We're just going to take and we're going to start spooning that over the top of these steaks. All of this herbs, garlic, just really comes together nice. Now the beauty of doing these on the stove, it doesn't matter what the weather is, if it's cold, if it's hot. You don't have to go out to the grill, and you're going to get a good consistent steak. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the heat, turn the heat off, and just let it rest for a minute. Let's take a look at our broccoli. Good. Our broccoli looks like it's nice and firm still. You want to have it just so it's just tender enough for your knife to go into. You don't want broccoli to be cooked all the way down so it's mushy and a kind of an ugly olive green color. You want it to be bright. All right, so we're going to go ahead and plate now. Now you notice that we're not putting any butter on this broccoli because the seasoning that we put on it is going to bring out so much more flavor. Now we cut those pieces down into smaller pieces. They're just about the size that you could eat without cutting them. There's a good portion. Turn that off. And we're going to take some of this Captain Rick's and we're just going to sprinkle it on there. And we'll take one of our steaks. We'll put that there. Let's go ahead and cut that. I like to cut them on a bias. It looks a little bit nicer. It makes it look like you spent a little bit more time. That is a perfect medium rare steak. Cut about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch piece, and you'll notice how nice that looks. We're going to take this juice that we have, the rest of this broth, and we're going to make a quick cream sauce. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bring it up to temperature again, and we're going to add a little bit of cream. And just a splash of pepper to it. But all these good little bites of flavor that we got from searing our steak in that butter and that avocado oil, it's just going to come to life just a little bit when we add some cream. We're going to add about 6 ounces of cream to that. Pour it in and just stir it. This is so simple. So simple, and it just adds a whole nother dimension to our dish. It gives it just a beautiful color. Let's check that for flavor. Perfect. And we're going to take that and we're just going to kind of just roll it over that steak. That's going to add a depth of flavor that will set you apart. Oh my gosh, that is delicious. That is exactly what we were trying for today. Let's try this broccoli. The broccoli with the cream sauce and a combination of steak makes this the perfect meal. Try it when you have a chance.